Good evening, everyone. I am so excited. This is the last of our 4-part webinar series. And today we have none other than Miss Tiffany Ware, who is the founder and CEO of the Brown Girls Project, as well as glamhoarder.com. When I was putting together this series, she was the first person that came to mind to discuss self-love and authenticity. I am going to share with you all why, but first I want to give her the opportunity to introduce herself to you all, tell us more about your businesses, and yeah, let's just get into it. I'm so excited.
Awesome. Well, first of all, Jessica, thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be here on this platform with you. You know how I feel about you. So it's an honor all the way around. I'm just Tiff. Most people know me as Tiff. Some people stop me in the street and say, "Aren't you Glam Hoarder?" And I say, "Yes, I'm Glam Hoarder." So weird. But my name is Tiffany Ware, and I have 2 businesses that I'm very proud of that I run by myself mostly. The first business is a nonprofit called the Brown Girls Project. That program is dedicated to celebrating the beauty of melanated women, as well as educating, encouraging, and empowering Black women and girls. And we do that through unconventional workshops, social events. Just our main goal basically is to provide representation where we haven't seen it and just be a soft, safe place to fall every day. Yeah. So we can, through events, workshops, we have culturally influenced merchandise, and we also have a online community that is an international online community. We have over 240,000 followers. Yeah. And it's on Facebook. So that's my place where I put all of the wonderful, inspiring, beautiful photos and stories about women who look like us, for us to have a place, a safe space to fall. And, you know, kind of my goal is to be that place where we can go to be reminded who we are, right? Yeah. Because this world that we live in has a really nasty habit of trying to tell us, especially Black women, but women in general, but especially who we can be, what we can do, how we should look, what we should say. And so the Brown Girls Project is completely about saying you can do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. And here I'm going to show you, because these other women.
Yes.
So this is the Brown Girls Project. My second business is glamhoarder.com. Glamhoarder.com is an e-boutique. I like to call it a style apothecary. It's a place where you can go, Glam Hoarder pieces. It's a place you can go to find any kind of accessory you would ever want to find. I've always been a glam hoarder. I've always been a makeup and beauty and fashion girl. And my tendency was to use accessories to make my looks unique. And eventually I started glamhoarder.com. We've been around for officially about 2.5 years now. And what's different about glamhoarder.com is that you can shop by item like you do on every other website, or you can come to glamhoarder.com and shop by style. So if you're not sure how to pull certain looks, you want a boho vibe, but you're not sure what that entails, you want a vintage look, but you're not sure what that entails, you can shop by style on glamhoarder.com, and we have everything already curated there for you.
Yes, I love it. Well, thank you so much. I think I first became introduced to Tiff, my sis, when I took one of the unconventional workshops, which is the CCW class for Brown Girls. Yes, girls with
Brown Girls with Guns.
Yes, Brown Girls with Guns. And it just opened up a whole new world for me as I was on this journey of protecting myself as a Black woman, becoming more educated about what that means. So that was our first interaction, but glamhoarder.com is where I said, okay, sis is the real deal. Okay. Last year, 2020, of course, we were all on the inside. We were quarantining.
Yeah.
And the good sis came through with so much life and energy for me. If you have not participated in any of her lives where she is just showcasing jewelry and being herself, then you have missed out on a treat. I will tell you that.
It's so much fun.
Yes.
You know, I needed that as much as you guys needed that.
Yes.
Right. We were all on lockdown with our kids. I have teenagers, and I have teenagers. So all they was doing was plowing through my refrigerator and turning on all my lights all day. And I was like, I really need some adult interaction. Like, I'm tired of talking to children.
Yes.
I don't want to learn a TikTok dance. I don't want to. So I was like, what do? I just want to talk to people who look like me. And I felt myself mentally just going to a place that I hadn't been in a very long time. Like, I personally, and I don't have a problem about transparency, I personally suffer from anxiety and bouts of depression, and being, not that I don't love let me not say my kids made me depressed. It wasn't my kids. I love my kids. They're the bomb. It wasn't my kids. It was just, I didn't realize how much I needed the interaction. I think I'm a hermit, but maybe I'm really not. And I felt myself going into this dark place mentally, where a lot of us experience that. Even people who have never experienced that were experiencing these valleys that they just couldn't do anything about, because you don't want to be out because you'll be sick, right?
Yeah.
So I really just was like, how do I see people? I need to see somebody outside of who lives here at this address. And I was like, I'm gonna go live and talk about fashion and talk about jewelry and have a drink. And one day it just came to me, like, we were talking and I was like, remember show and tell? Like, it's gonna be like show and tell, but for adults. So we're gonna call it show and chill.
Yeah.
And it was just exciting to, the build up to, y'all, what y'all drinking tonight? Let's go sit down and let's talk. And we didn't just talk about jewelry, we talked about everything, and we laughed, and we created this this bond, this sisterhood that I don't think any of us ever knew we needed. Right. So at that time, it was a really safe space for me as well as you guys. And so my online group, my private showroom group, just continually grew because ladies kept adding their friends so that they can hang out with us. It just became a hangout session. But of course, I was going to try to say something too.
Of course. But you know what? It's an easy sell, because look at you. I mean, you modeling these pieces. I'm looking at these earrings like, dang, I should have got them last week. I've been trying to be better, y'all, about not spending all my money on jewelry. But if you look at the ledger on how much I spent at glamhoarder.com last year, it's real. Don't judge. Don't judge.
I ain't gonna tell you business, but I was looking at it today to see who bought the most since we've opened the doors.
Maybe I'm close to the top. I already know.
Want me to tell you?
Tell me, what's my number?
You number 2. Oh, that's why I'm about to send you a VIP gift. I'll give you a special VIP gift.
The VIP. I was telling y'all, it was, but you know what? So it's this undertone of why we are here this evening, because your authenticity, just coming in the room and being yourself, made it a safe space, as you said, for other women to come and just be themselves. So it got to the point where I'm like, okay, what is it Friday? What day is it for show and chill? Because I need to be in the room.
Right. Me too.
To be in the room. So
me too. It was definitely refreshing and I met so many new ladies. You know what I mean? We talked about all types of things. And we just really needed each other. And so I was just excited to have people to talk to express what I was feeling, who wouldn't judge me, who knew exactly what I was feeling as a mother, as a Black woman, as a single woman, because I'm not married. I have a significant other, but I'm not. there was just so much going on and to deal with. And then we had each other. So that was a blessing.
Yes, yes. You really just created a community of women. And I'm one who is a little bit more introverted, shy. People probably may not know that or think that about me, but I am. So creating this safe space and just the opportunity to have an online community where I just met some other girlfriends who love fashion, love to look cute, other Black women who, like you said, can identify with what we are going through on a day-to-day basis. It was just wonderful. So thank you so much for creating that space and for sharing about your business. As I said, it is the underlying reason of why we are here today to discuss self-love and authenticity for entrepreneurs specifically. So I just want to dive right into the questions that we have prepared in the conversation this evening. And let's talk about just entrepreneurship, right? So we know that it can be stressful at times. We already talked about last year how we were on lockdown and just closed in. And, you know, if you are constantly consumed in your mind and your thoughts, then you may not always be going to the best or happiest place, right? So as an entrepreneur, it can be stressful. Where do you find motivation to continue on this journey of entrepreneurship and to keep going?
My face, I don't have
yes.
on all type of stuff. Sorry. You know, I think my biggest motivation, and it sounds so cliche, it's my kids.
Yes.
It really is my kids. They make me want to be a better me, to show them that they can do whatever it is that they want to do. You know what I mean? Like my kids, my son, I call him Hustle Junior. He has the hustle bug like me. Like he's an entrepreneur and he's always, you know, I seen it in him a long time ago. And so he now makes a living while he's in college with his hustle. My daughter, not much. She's just like, I just want to sing. But she appreciates my work ethic.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? She's my number one assistant. Like she's in packing and shipping orders with me and processing inventory and that kind of thing. So it's the motivation of being able to give them the quality of life that I want them to have. And they're big kids now. Like, you know, she'll be 17 in December. He'll be 21 next week. So, but still as a mother, want to be able to provide for them when the bottom falls out. Like it does sometimes when you're a young person, you need to go back home or you need mama to pitch in or, you know, that kind of thing. So I think my motivation first and foremost comes from them, from me wanting to be the best mom I could be, to show them how to be a good person, to have moral integrity, to work hard, and to believe that they can do whatever they want to do. Second, it's the way I have the ability to build rapport quickly and make people feel certain things.
Yes.
Right? I love the way I can make people feel. And I've been that way through all of my career jumps, right? Even from being a makeup artist for 10 years, when I freelanced for about 10, 12 years as a makeup artist. I love the way women looked at themselves when I gave them the mirror, right? I love making people feel better. And that's the most simplest way I can put it. When people always ask me, like, what's the Brown Girls Project about? I'm like, it's about making Black women and girls feel better.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. So those are like probably what I would consider my motivations.
Awesome. That's beautiful. I agree with you there. I think, of course, my daughter is motivation for me. She's young, so she's not at the point yet where she's helping me with business items. I'm ready though. When she gets to that point, I'm like, girl, I got a whole list of stuff for you to do.
Yeah. But
my
always talking about she needed a job. I'm like, you have a job. Like I pay her, right? So I'm like, how many hours you want to work this week? She's like, nah, what I gotta do? Work for Glam Hoarder. But then when she get that money on her debit card, she'd be like, okay, when you need me again, right?
Right. Yeah, that money is the motivation, honey. That's awesome. Okay, so today we are talking about self-love and authenticity. Share with us, what does authenticity mean to you, and why do you think that it's important to have it as an entrepreneur?
I think to me, authenticity means the ability to show up in the room as you naturally are, how you want to be without putting on any kind of uh, corporate uniform, uh, racial identity uniform, whatever, all these things in the world that try to tell us who we should be and how we should be. For me, authenticity is just showing up how you feel most comfortable.
Yeah.
And what's important is because, especially as an entrepreneur, me showing up authentically as myself on those days when I'm tired and I really don't have the energy, I don't have to worry about putting on this thing and still attracting peers, supporters, and customers.
Yeah.
Because I'm already at my baseline, right?
Yes.
I'm at my baseline. So I show up as Tiff every day,
Yeah.
you know, and I had over 20 plus years in corporate before I became a full-time entrepreneur. And in most of those positions, some days I was able to show up as Tiff. Some other times I had to, you know, pull out my inner Oprah, which my inner Oprah, let me tell you, my inner Oprah is bomb.
Oh, I believe it.
My inner Oprah is bomb. It's been scenarios where I've been like nervous, confused, concerned, you know, worried about if I'm ready. And then I'd be like, what would Oprah do?
Yes.
Oprah, and I just turn into Oprah and shut it down. Right? So, you know, I can pull it out when I need to, but for the most part, for my mental health and for my energy level, I need to just be able to be me.
Yeah.
And I think it afforded me the success that I've had with my businesses because people connect to me fairly easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people might think I come off fake, but I don't think that I do. I think that people are like, wow, she's like me. Wow. She talks about her anxiety. She talks about her depression. She talks about having a bad week in business. She talks about whatever it is. And I think it allows people to connect to me a little bit easier, and it makes them hang around a little bit longer to see what I got going on.
Yeah.
What she said, what she doing, you know, that kind of thing. It's hard to keep alive, right? It's hard to keep up alive. It's hard to pretend to be something else or someone. It's gonna wear you out. Oof. And so I think that's what's most important about us allowing people to show up as themselves.
Beautiful. Yeah, I definitely can relate. I have spent 10 plus years in corporate America, and it was, for me, it was every day, whether it was consciously or unconsciously, this weight of, is my hair okay? Am I presentable? What do I have to do today? What's due? Worrying about people in the office, knowing what I'm stepping into. I mean,
and it makes you heavy, right? It makes you very heavy. I was so heavy to the point where I was elated when I got laid off the last time. I mean, I was nervous.
Yes.
I was nervous, but I was elated. And before I had got laid off, honey, I just was like, I was all the way Tiff every day at work. At that point, I had my locks for 15 years. I done shaved all the sides. I done dyed it purple. They were like, midlife crisis. And I'm like, no, this is really just who I am, and I'm over this, and I see the end coming.
Yes. Right? Yes.
Yeah. Totally get it.
I hear you. I think for me too, it helped when I let my hair go naturally, when I returned back to my natural journey. That's really when the authentic Jessica started to shine forth. And I had an elder tell me, when you free your hair, you free the mind flow. So, you know, it's no diss to, you know, women, we can wear our hair any way we want to wear it. But for me personally, I found that my natural hair journey just sparked that in me to say, this is who I am. You know, this is how my hair grows from my head. It has nothing to do with my intellect and what I'm bringing to the table. It has nothing to do with my ability to deliver and perform, to do a task. So I just appreciate you sharing that, because I think, like I said, it's just this underlying tone that is really not talked about a lot, especially for Black women. So
but we feel it, right?
We feel it. We feel
it.
it.
I know when I first started in my corporate journey many, many years ago, I had a relaxer because I worked at the Cincinnati Enquirer and I was an ad rep. And so it was very corporate suit everyday situation. And I had a relaxer. And I enjoyed having a relaxer at that time. But then when I got pregnant with my son, I didn't want those chemicals in my body and I started going natural. So I've been natural for over 20 years. And then once I finally decided to lock my hair, to be honest, I felt my most beautiful with my locks. Like that's the most beautiful I ever felt in my life.
Yes.
So I think it built my confidence and it made me feel like I was kind of unstoppable.
Yes.
So I don't know if I ever really got a whole lot of flack about my locks once, like I had them for my first set. I'm starting my second set now, but my first set I had for 15 years.
Wow.
And so they're really long. And, sometimes I felt the pressure to put them up back in a bun. And other times I didn't. But, I'm sure people were making comments. I'm sure my counterparts who, weren't African-American, had things to say. But I feel great. And I'm sure it helped me perform better.
Yes.
Because when you feel good about what you look like and what you're doing, you're feeling good on the inside, you kick butt normally.
That's right. That's right. One of my sisters always says, when you look good, you feel good. And most times, like you said, you are able to perform better. So, but the looking good part is not defined by somebody else's standards, but
correct.
Looking good defined by your standards and what's comfortable for you. And I think Black women spend a lot of time trying to look good by someone else's standards and not really taking a deep dive into what makes them feel good for themselves.
Exactly. So. And that's where the Brown Girls Project came from. It came from need for me to help debunk European beauty standards.
That's right.
I felt like I was not represented, in the leading lady roles. When you go on social media, it was always more fair skinned girl with wavy hair. And, I was just like, nobody really looks like me. And what happens with these little girls who are looking at all this and they don't ever see anybody that looks like them? What is that telling them? What is that saying to them? And that's kind of how it started. Like, I'm going to get the darkest African-American women models that I know. And we're going to take pictures and I'm going to put them in the brightest colors. Everything that they said we're not supposed to do. We ain't supposed to wear red. We ain't supposed to wear blue eyeshadow. Dark-skinned girls can't wear blush. Everything they said we're not supposed to do, I'm going to show them how to do it. That's kind of started.
Yes. And it's beautiful. So yes, cheers to you. Thank you for blazing those trails for us. We need more people like you in our community. Let's talk a moment about gratitude. Here lately, and we talked a little bit about this in our last part series that we talked about on spirituality. But all of these themes really that we're focusing on, I feel like they are interwoven with each other when you think about your whole self and bringing your whole self to the table, but specifically gratitude. When it comes to self-improvement, what are some ways, is it something that you practice? And if so, what are some ways that you embed it into your lifestyle?
Embed gratitude into my lifestyle?
Yes.
Well, to be honest, because I really do have to manage myself emotionally because I'm predisposed to, have very depressive moments. And, it'll be something like, people always say, well, what's wrong? And I'm like, everything and nothing. At the same time, you know what I mean? It's not one thing in particular. I've just fallen in the serotonin or whatever has fallen, and I'm not in that space where I need to be because I'm so on or off. If I'm off, they like, she ain't making jokes. She ain't silly, make no faces. What's going on? Like, well, you all right? I'm like, I am. And they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, no, I'm just in a valley, which I tell people all the time, I'm just in a valley. I just need a minute, So for me, I'm grateful for every one of those days that I wake up and I'm not in that space. But there have been times where I've woke up even before I was an entrepreneur, and I just was like, I don't even have the energy to get out of bed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How am I function today? And so every day that I wake up not starting the day with that, I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
And I work really hard to try to make that the tone of my day.
Yeah. Yes. But I am one who, I already talked about my introverted side, but I think along with that is just spending a lot of time overthinking things. And so for me, gratitude has helped me just to appreciate what I have. I have great support system around me to help remind me, when I get too bogged down on what's not going right. And so, but I've really, over the past, I say just few weeks, really have had this shift in my perspective, especially when it comes to gratitude. And it's honestly been like the fuel that's really keeping me going as an entrepreneur. And I find that when I do it in the morning and start my day off with it, like you said, you wake up and it's a good day. I find that when I start my day, just taking a moment to get still and just say, a gratitude meditation, or just say, thank you for this day, that it really sets the tone for the rest of the day. So, of course,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, of course, as an entrepreneur, no day is ever the same. But I think if you are intentional about starting your day on the right foot, then it will set the tone for the rest of the day.
And we as entrepreneurs, especially if you haven't grown your company to have employees and such, we're doing everything and we're alone.
Yes.
All of the time. I am literally alone the majority of the time. And so sometimes, like you said, you start overthinking, things seem tough, you start going around in your head what you coulda, shoulda, woulda, it should have been this way. And we're just really hard on ourselves, right? So I honestly, every morning that I don't wake up with that heavy feeling, I am so grateful. And I just be like, thank you, Lord. And I hit my music, I turn my music on. Yeah. And once I turn music on, I just try to coast through the rest of the day on that feeling. I'm not successful every day, know, things said as an entrepreneur, it's always something, especially running two different businesses with two different things happening. One's more service based, one's more product based. So I'm constantly shifting hats, and then I'm a creative. So sometimes I'm just in my head with these ideas, and I let myself get bogged down. So those days that I wake up and I'm feeling like free, I'm feeling like light, I take full advantage of it and I try to coast on that.
I know that's right, sis. I hear you on that. Let's talk about imposter syndrome. So this is a term that has been, it has gained popularity here recently. Yes, I didn't know about it either. And it's something, honestly, that I want to be on the side to debunk it. And that's why I'm also so excited to be talking to you about authenticity and self-love as an entrepreneur, because this thought of imposter syndrome, and I guess feeling like perhaps social media has a lot of weight on why some of us may be feeling like we are trying to be like someone else that we see. But let's talk about this term, what it means, and just how do you combat it as an entrepreneur?
By sitting here talking to you right now. Because as soon as you sent me that email about being part of this web series, I was like, oh no. Why me? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm talking about. Right?
Yeah.
So to me, imposter syndrome is just built on the foundation of self-doubt. Right? And it's normally people who are high achievers or whatever, who have, some level of success and eyes on them, right? And then they get these opportunities that fall into their laps, and then they're like, oh no, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm doing. They're gonna find me out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think my battle, because I've dealt with it, I don't know that it's something that's a part of my regular everyday life. But I do have a lot of self-doubt off and on. And I think most of my self-doubt, honestly, I inherited from working in corporate America, from having condescending supervisors, right?
Yes.
From knowing that I wasn't getting as paid as much as my counterparts,
Yes.
you know, having coworkers who saw me getting too much attention or ahead and, sabotaging and, so it made me start, I allowed it because no one can allow you to do it, but you,
That's
I
right.
allowed to start being part of my identity, second guessing myself. And I do it now in business sometimes, to be honest. Like, I have ideas, I second guess them. I talk my husband to death. He'd be like, girl, put a death, let's do it. You know you're gonna kill it. And I'll be like, or, what do you think? He's like, put a date on it. You know what I mean? So for me, I definitely can say that it's a real thing, but it's if you allow it to be a real thing. You know what I mean? So combating it, for me, oftentimes when I get in that place, if it's not him hyping, because he's the best hype man in the world, if it's not him being my hype man and making me get out of my crazy, it's me. I'll pull up my resume.
That's right.
I'll pull up my resume and slide it across the table to myself.
Come on now.
Remember who you are.
Come on now.
You know what I mean? So I oftentimes when I get, because I've done all these things for other people and made them millions of dollars, right? And now as an entrepreneur, I'm putting into practice what these thousands of dollars of student loans have taught me. And all these life experiences from all these places that I've lived and traveled and worked and made millions. Now it's time for me to take that and do it for myself.
Yes.
But not only did I bring those experiences with me, I brought some of the crap along with me too. So I have to filter that out. And so I have to, talk myself out of what I'm feeling about myself, because sometimes I'm not so nice to myself. Right. And so I'm learning how to be better to myself.
Yes.
I'm learning to speak to myself nicely, to be positive to myself. And it's not always easy.
Yes.
Especially in this world, being a Black woman, we have the world constantly telling us we're not enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not smart enough. We're not strong. So they think we're strong enough, because that's why they keep throwing everything at us. But I don't want to be strong all the time. I don't want to hurt all the time. So I literally have to remind myself who the heck I am. And I usually start with pulling out my resume.
Yes. Come on
so
now.
As soon as you sent me that email, I started freaking out because I wanted to do it for you. Because I'm like, oh, you to do it. But then I was like, oh, well, why me? Like, who am I? Why you pick me? I just do what I do. It ain't that serious. And then I pulled my resume out and was like, no, it's that serious.
That's right. That's right. Oh. And instead of why you, why not you?
Why not me?
Question that I try to, because oh man, you hit so many jewels. I'm like trying to sit here and make sure I remember everything that I wanted to comment on. But that self-doubt is real. The fact that it being rooted, and I don't want to be the one to bash corporate America, but unfortunately, it did have a significant impact on me personally and my confidence and who I am and what I bring to the table, in spite of having all of these credentials, right? We both have bachelor's and master's degrees, but yet there's still sometimes this feeling of not being enough. And, like I said, I'm on a mission to debunk this imposter syndrome, because I think the mere fact that we are here, that we are individuals, that we were born, no human being, unless you have an identical twin, but even twins have differences. So how can we be an imposter of someone else? Well, we can be, I guess, if we try, but if we focus more on being our authentic selves, there's no way we can impersonate someone else because we're just being who we are. So
that's
is
good. That's
yes,
really good.
yes, that is
really
why.
Good. I didn't think of it in that way.
Yes. Yeah.
And back to corporate, like, no, I don't mean the bash corporate, but I because I was there for a very long time. Those checks were really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And those benefits were really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot. Every position that I was in, I made it my business to learn a lot because I knew eventually either I would be consulting, which I also do, or I'd be doing it for myself, right?
Yes.
So, it's not the bash corporate, but I mean, I have to be honest.
That's
Most
right.
of the that I speak to have the same feeling.
Yes.
They feel it snatches their confidence. That glass ceiling definitely is a barrier and it affects you regularly.
Yes.
So there are some people who aren't made to be entrepreneurs, and that's fine.
That's right.
It's definitely not for everybody. It is not for the faint at heart. I quit every day. I fire myself every day, or I quit every day. And then guess what? I think about being at other people's whim.
Yes.
Because I ended up being an entrepreneur because I got laid off 5 times in a 10-year period.
Wow. Wow.
With the credentials and the experience that I had.
Wow.
And the universe, I guess, was trying to tell me something, and I wasn't ready to listen. I'm like, oh, let me update this resume because I got to feed these kids.
That's right.
And another 2 years passed again, another 2 years again. And I just was like, I don't like people having this control over my quality of life. And sending me to these almost mental breakdowns because I'm worried now about how I'm going to manage all this with just a little bit of savings that I have or whatever. So, it was good while it lasted, but I definitely came away with some chinks in my armor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I hear you. The checks is nice, but sometimes the environment comes with a price, on just you as a person. How do you think one can maintain authenticity while trying to be appealing to other people? As you stated, you have a service-based business as well as a product business. I have a service-based business. We need clients and, people to keep our businesses alive. How do you maintain still being yourself while still having that appeal to get people to work with you?
You know what? I don't know how great of a theory this is. I really don't know how great of a theory this is, but I always think to myself, like, are you too much? Is that too much to pull? But you need to pull back. Like, what's going on? And then I stop myself because I'm like, there are billions of people in this world. I don't know all of them, right? And there are plenty of them who will be attracted to not only my personality, but what I have to offer as far as good services, right? So I just deal with the fact that I'm not for everybody. There are millions of people out there that I am for. And I've had an uptick. I had an uptick in my business during the pandemic, right? A huge uptick. Probably a lot to do with show and chill. Y'all was bored, sitting at home. Y'all like, buy some stuff for when we can go outside.
Baby, them purple packages, baby.
Kept you alive. Purple packages kept you alive. It was like a great now later every day. But I have this core, and that's what I'm working on now. I have this core group of supporters for, let's say, glamhoarder.com, which is my VIPs. I want to say 80% of my sales come from my VIPs and that VIP group. I'm for them. So now I'm working on how to expand that, right? I know who my demographic is. I know, their average household income, the kind of things that they like, their interests. You know what I mean? So I really just focus on those people. Yeah. And I let them bring the other people to me.
Yes.
There are people who enjoy what I have to offer, enjoy my personality, and they're like, I think you'll like it too. And they bring their friends in. And some of them maybe walk away and be like, no, that's too much. That ain't for me. But then they have another friend that says, oh, let me get my 2 friends and drop them in the VIP group and let them meet her and what she has to offer. You know what I mean?
Right. That's right.
focus on so much who I'm not for, but keeping the people that I am for happy and pleased with my products and services. If that makes
sense. I hope you entrepreneurs is taking notes, baby, because she just dropped some gems for you right there. That is a gem.
Let's put out the disclaimer. Here's the disclaimer. Don't do everything that I do. Because I'm lightweight out here freestyling. I'm freestyling a little bit, but it's working for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of start to know your customer base.
That's right.
Know what they appreciate, what they appreciate about you, what they appreciate about your company, what kind of products they're looking for. You know, and some items are hit or miss, right? I don't take it personal, you know. I'm like, well, that needs to go on sale. Let's try again. You know, and that's why I have certain people like you and other people who I'll find something and I'll drop it in your inbox or be like, what you think about this? You know, because you are my core demographic. What you represent my core demographic. So it really, I think, is just about knowing your customers and going after your customers and people who are like your customers.
Yes. Excellent advice. Excellent advice. I think a lot of people struggle with that because there is a tendency to want to try to be appealing to the masses, to everyone, you know, thinking that if we appeal to more people, of course, we'll get more sales. But I think it was Ashleah who said it in part 2 of our series that you just have to get comfortable knowing that you may not be everyone's cup of tea. And that is okay. But the people who you are for, continue to pursue them. And like you said, tell them to bring your friends. So that is excellent advice. Let's see. September, of course, is self-improvement month. What are some maybe self-improvement mantras or just things that you are maybe working on in the realm of self-improvement, specifically as an entrepreneur?
2 things. The first one I'm going to say is, yes, the company is called Glam Hoarder, and it's called Glam Hoarder for a reason. I hoard glamorous things. I love pretty things, all pretty things, right? Yes. So I am really working hard in the self-improvement realm of things to get more organized, right? To purge, become more organized so that I can work more efficient. Right? I have to say to myself regularly, and this is a mantra, and I told you guys this in Show and Chill one day. I was one weekend, I was just purging, and I was like, why do I have this stuff? And it's great stuff, tons of stuff with price tags still on it, but it doesn't serve me, right? So I have to say to myself, and that's my mantra to myself, when I'm about to hold on to something, cling to something, because there's an emotional attachment to it, or I've had it for so long, I feel like there's a history, or I have to say to myself, and I have to say to myself now in business, even with deciding on what's going to go on sale and what's going to be the item for the week that I'm going to showcase, and, you know, but mostly, you know, putting stuff on sale or going to clearance, or just personally in my personal life, purging and removing things. I say to myself, Tiffany, it no longer serves you. It no longer serves you. If it's causing more issues than it is a benefit, like if I'm having to keep moving things around it, and I'm not using it, it doesn't need to be there. Yes. But I hold on to these things. I'm like, because you know, it's pretty. It's pretty, and I like it. But you ain't never wore it, and you had it for 8 years, ma'am. Fit it no more. Yeah. It's time. You're not gonna go. Not gonna fit it. I tell myself, I'm gonna get back in this. No, you're not. You're not. So that's one of my self-improvement mantras that I use mostly in my personal life, but I'm moving it over to thinking in that way about my business, my product business. I'm like, it no longer serves you. It no longer serves you. I say it all the time, to the point where my daughter now says it to me.
She's repeating it like, it no longer serves you, Mom.
Like No longer, and I say it to her when I go up in that room, I be like, girl, this no longer serves you. We need to, and so that's something that we use a lot. And then there's another thing that I learned many years ago when I was working promotions. I had picked up this promotions for Code Zero, and I was doing it for about 5 or 6 months, traveling all over the region, setting up this full-on Code Zero promotion with games and basketball hoops and all with a staff. And it was a lot of build. We had to build the thing every day that we were setting up, and we might be in a different city at a different school every couple of days. So we would have to build this thing up. And I hired a gentleman who I knew could do electronics really well. He knew electronics really well. He could fix the truck if it needed to be fixed. Like he was my right hand man named Kevin. Kevin Ladot. Kevin Ladot, if you want, he said this thing to me, and he said he learned it from his father, and it's always stuck in my mind. And I say it to myself regularly. And he said, touch it once, right? So, if I'm moving this thing off this truck and it's heavy, let me get somebody else to help me so we can get it where it needs to go that one time, instead of me dragging it halfway off, going to do something else, coming back, dragging it off again. You know what I mean? So he always said, Tiff, let's touch it once. Let's touch it once and get it where it's got to go, instead of having to come back. And so, we would get this big piece off, and we would go and set it up before we even pulled everything else off the truck. He's like, we touching it once. It's the way we work efficient. And so I do that to myself all the time, because I am also a procrastinator.
Okay. Let's talk about it now.
I do great under pressure. However, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary stress, right? So I'm working on my procrastination.
Yes.
And that helps me not procrastinate so much, because I'll start projects, right? Even if it's just shipments, I may get 10 orders in one day, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to pull out my products, set everything up, and then I'm going to come back later and pack them up. Ma'am, touch it once. You already got it set up. Let's get it wrapped up nice and neat and pretty and be ready to go. You can get it to the post office today.
Yes.
So that's another thing that I say to myself a lot when I feel myself about to procrastinate. I'm like, touch it once, Tiff. Touch it once. Do it now. Let's do it now. So those are the things that I'm working on personally for self-improvement.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. Touch it once, because I'm guilty of that as well. Getting distracted as well. So working on something, allowing something to distract me, and then I'm on to something else. And I'm like, okay, now what was that thing that I was working on? So that is excellent advice. Excellent advice. Any resources in particular that you would recommend for entrepreneurs who, we talked about imposter syndrome, but who struggle with just being themselves, who may struggle with self-doubt? What are some things that you can share to help others out of that state of just maybe not feeling any self-love or being happy about who they are?
I think the first thing you have to do is reflect on how far you've come and what you're doing. Even if you're in the beginning, the fact that you've made that decision to step out on faith and bet on you is. And so maybe we a lot of times don't think about it. I mean, it feels major when you're in it, right? When you're doing it, you're like, oh my God, but it ain't like, you're like, oh my God, this is great. You be like, oh my God, what did I do? My job. Right? So it's once you've made that decision to bet on yourself, that in and of itself is something to celebrate, something to be proud of, right? Because so many people want to bet on themselves and they never do. Right? It's always, I wish I woulda, coulda. And I'm trying to live this life with as many of those, as little of those, I wish I woulda, coulda, shoulda as I can, right? Yes. And so first thing is just reflect on where you are and how far you've come and how brave you are for even just making that decision to bet on yourself.
Yes.
Secondly, I would say connect with other women. If it's not men, if you don't feel comfortable connecting with other men, connect with other people who are doing or working towards doing the same thing that you were doing.
Yes.
There are those days when you just like, I don't know what to do. I don't feel like doing this. Did I make a bad decision? And then you have that support system that can be like, you're having a day. Talk to me about it. They may have a resource. They may have a way of handling things. They may know someone, or they may just be that ear that you need at that point in time, to be like, no, you're not gonna quit. Let's talk about this again tomorrow. Just give yourself a day off and let's talk about this tomorrow, right? So that would be my second one. And then just show yourself some grace.
Yeah.
So for most of us, we didn't come up in families that were full of entrepreneurs. Like a lot of us are just figuring this out as we go, right? We are bumping our heads. We're hitting that pinky toe on the side of the bed through this process. And you know how that feels. Yeah. So a lot of us are figuring it out. And we're not showing ourselves very much grace in figuring it out. Because what are we doing? We're comparing ourselves to what we see. Yep. On social media, on TV, all day, every day. And again, people don't normally post their failures.
That's right.
That's right. Just like all we see is success after success after success. You know, we really have to work on stopping comparing ourselves to other people.
That's right.
Because it puts us in what's meant for you is meant for you. And I think that is one thing that when I was younger, I battled with, you know, like I'm putting all this work in and she getting what? And I'm smarter than her. I'm just saying. Yep. Like, so I had to grow up and learn that what's meant for me is meant for me. So, you know, I think we just need to show ourselves some grace. Yes. And then and just try to stay inspired by people's stories. Like that is what keeps me going a lot of times. On those days, like I can't do this anymore. You know what I do? I have a podcast that I listen to. Well, I've listened to it I listen to it over and over again. It's a podcast called Side Hustle Pro. Okay. Black women who've taken their side hustles and turned them into multi-million-dollar businesses or on the way to being multi-million-dollar businesses. And I listen to that when I'm working, when I'm driving to go pick the kid up from high school, and you know, I'm sitting in the car and the pickup lines and all this stuff. If I'm having one of those days, I listen to that. That's motivation, and it inspires me. And they drop so many jewels on this podcast. So I keep a notebook with me all the time anyway, because I'm a writer. So I write everything. So they drop so many jewels on this podcast that have helped me find cheaper packaging. It's helped me find, you know, other resources in general, because they're women from all walks of life. I mean, she interviewed Sharice from Sassy Jones. She's interviewed trying to think other people that she interviewed. The young lady who started Curl Mix, the hair product. Just a plethora of young women, young Black women. I say young Black women because they're younger than me. Most of them are younger than me. And I'm like, man, I start doing this early. You know, but they have so much knowledge, and they've leveled up their businesses. And every day I feel like I don't know how long I can just continue on this entrepreneurial path. I go log into that podcast. Nice. And it inspires me and it motivates me.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing that resource. I have never heard of that podcast, but I will be tuning in because it sounds like something that I should definitely be listening to and hearing. So thank you for sharing that. Anything else you want to share, you know, as we close out our last part of our series, Any final words? I of course want you to share, where people can find you, but as far as encouragement, is there any last things that you want to share for the entrepreneurs? Girl, my child is going crazy. Okay.
We talking about authenticity.
We talking about authenticity. My child like, Mom, what is going on right now?
Wrap up this business stuff. It's time
my time.
Yeah, I mean, mostly, I think the last thing I said, and the resources that we were talking about, just be kind to yourself. Like you are smart enough, pretty enough, you're strong enough, you're everything that you need to be, right? Yeah. To get what you need to get done. If you have the vision, if the Lord, the universe, whoever you believe in, if they allowed you the vision, it's for you, right? Yeah. They gave you the vision. They're not gonna leave you. You're not gonna be out there without any kind of help. So just show yourself some grace. Be kind to yourself. Take it serious. I laugh and joke a lot, but I'm very serious about my businesses because I'm trying to change the face of my family. Yeah. I am trying to create a legacy. And my kids already told me, once I'm gone, they ain't selling no earrings.
I know that's right.
Right? They're not selling earrings. But I want to be in a position where they can sell the company and have the wealth that I always wanted them to have and be able to move forward and pursue their dreams. Right? So just be kind to yourself and just know that, if you are functioning in your purpose, and what you feel you should be doing, if it makes you happy, even when you're tired, it makes you happy to be doing this, keep doing it.
Yes. Awesome. So encouraging. Like I said, you, last but certainly not least, but the perfect person for us to wrap up our series discussing self-love and authenticity. I hope that you all have been taking notes and have captured some things, a podcast that you can listen to, a resource, some sort of gem to just encourage you to believe that what is for you will not pass you by, to give yourself grace and to just keep going. Self-improvement is a journey. It's a constant journey of just evaluating yourself and making small changes over time that will have a lasting impact. So sis, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all the information that you shared. Lastly, I just want to give you the opportunity to let the people know where they can find you at online, where they can shop these bomb jewelry pieces that when we all go, I'm probably gonna go start filling up my cart.
You should. It's 35% off.
It's been a minute. I've been trying to be good and not spend, but it's been a minute. So, and after this, I think I deserve to treat myself. So, but tell the people where they can find you.
I appreciate you so much.
Yes.
So glad that life crossed our paths.
Yes.
Because it's always that myth that we as Black women, we can't get along and we're catty and we're this.
That's right.
And that's one of my goals in my events and my workshops. We have great time with people we've never met before. And some people actually make these relationships that they stick with because these are people who are interested in doing the things that you are doing. So I'm so excited that, we are on this journey together.
Yes.
And my new sis, you ain't do no more. You used to be new. You're not new no more. And I think that this is amazing what you're doing. I think we need to see this, and I think you should do more. I think you should continue with the topics. I can help you up with some topics.
Okay.
I think we definitely need this. But thank you for having me. It was great.
Yeah.
But here's where you can find me. If you haven't had enough of me, y'all, you can find me at glamhoarder.com to find all of your accessory needs. I promise you will stay on there for hours. Look at some beautiful items. And if you hit the messenger button, it don't matter what time of day or night, you're going to be talking to me. So ask questions that you have. I will be there. So glamhoarder.com is where you go for all of your accessory needs. If you are looking for us on Facebook, you can find us at Glam Hoarder. If you're looking for us on IG, you can find us at Glam Hoarder, and then we're at glamhoarder.com. Now, for the Brown Girls Project, you can find our community on Facebook. Just put in the Brown Girls Project. There are several others that have popped up over the years. We're trademarked now, so those won't be they won't be but you're looking for the one with the largest community. That would be the Brown Girls Project page, and we also are the Brown Girls Project on IG.
Excellent.
And where you can find us. And again, if you hit that inbox on any of those pages, it's probably gonna be me that you're talking to. I do have admins, but you know, they work for free, so I don't put much pressure on them. But yeah, any questions, ideas, concerns, people shoot me pictures of their daughters and themselves, and you know, I try to post as much as I can, because I'm just happy that you guys are finding a place that you feel safe enough to do that. So that's where you can find me. And I'm Tiffany Ware on Facebook. Awesome. My page is public, so you can see all my shenanigans all day, every day, and hopefully you'll still go buy something from me.
I am sure that they will. I'm sure that they will. If they won't, I will, sis. You know I'm there.
I'll take it.
I'm in number 2, and I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I'm trying to get to that number 1 spot.
Baby, it's going. Now listen, number 2, you number 2 after taking about an 8-month break. You've been on break.
Ooh, sis.
Oh,
don't tell them all my business, sis.
So I was like, oh, Jessica she's doing so good. But every time I get something green in, I'd be like, I'm about to send this. I want to send this picture to her, but she's been doing good. I'll just wait till she see it herself.
Well, wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much for your time and for the information that you shared. I just want to tell the people again, make sure you go follow my good sis, support her businesses and what she's doing. And as she said, we're not finished, because I'm gonna be hitting you up for some more topics. I think this is something other entrepreneurs can benefit from. So definitely, if you're watching, send us your topics as well, and we'll just keep the conversation going.
All right, sis.
Awesome.
Love you.
Love you too. Thank you, sis.